What the fuck? His goddamn computer fucking sucks.
Here we go.
I keep trying to reset my computer because it's dog shit, and I'm getting a new one. So I want to reset and clean the hard drive, and it keeps stop resetting at about 8%. So it's gonna get
Welcome back, Wash Up Walkons fans, episode 110 of the podcast. And today I have the honor of introducing an absolute legend of the Benton Savages, one of the founding fathers of the Benton Savages. We would have never had the cream of the crop had this man not come along first and spread his invincible, glorious seed. This is really going to be a fun podcast because I haven't got to catch up with Beef Ward in a long time, and I really can't wait. So, Kevin, it is my honor to introduce your father, who will always be better than you. Beef, welcome to the podcast.
What's up, fellas? How you everybody doing?
Kevin's.
Well, I completely regret letting Drake do the intro again.
This is the best shit. I don't know why we haven't done this before.
Okay.
Kevin, this is weird for you, yeah.
Just a little bit, but you know what? We're gonna make the most of it. Now, Brian, can I call you Brian?
Well, yeah, no problem.
So, I've been looking forward to this interview for a while, and you know, you have fathered 3 sons who played Big Ten football.
Two that are actually.
Two of which are now unemployed. The third one is gainfully employed by a Fortune 500 company. Would it be correct to assume that one is your favorite son?
I cannot pick a favorite because each of you have your own special qualities.
Right, but if you
that for freaking political, right?
But if you had to, it would definitely be either Patrick or Ryan because they were physically given gifts that Kevin wasn't. Mostly their size. Patrick has the brains to match the size. That guy for some reason stopped building Boeing wings, right? He was building wings for Boeing, as I know, and then he decided that wasn't good enough, and now he's just doing more. He's going to be a doctor now. Is everyone in your family going to be a doctor? Is that?
Well, you know they're going to have to take care of all of us someday, and Patrick got tired of the corporate world grind and wanted to get something more challenging than building airplanes. So yeah, he's on the career path to medicine. Ryan,
what an asshole, right? Asshole move. Like I remember like my senior year, you and Mom were like saying like, "Oh, so are you looking at any graduate programs?" I'm like, "Nope, I'm not." Ryan's in grad school at the time. Patrick's thinking about making the move to med school, and like I'm just like, these fucking sons of bitches.
Hey, you know, if you can stay in school, you would have stayed in school and somebody paying for it. Hell yeah, you do it, right? So,
I guess that's true.
I do have that going. I went from being the most expensive son to the least expensive son real fucking quick.
That is true. There you go. But hey, it's good to hook up with all you guys. It's been a while.
This is incredible.
Yeah, this is a pleasure.
Where do we start? I guess. Were there any special fan questions? Because there's been some requests, Beef. Where did Drake just go? Drake just left the podcast.
Oh, Jesus. All
right. Well, we'll start with this.
He'll come back.
Yeah. You have been a requested guest, Beef. I don't know if you're on Twitter much. I know you are. Occasionally you'll respond.
A little bit, yeah.
There has been several people because we have mentioned, I guess, many stories of times where we've hung out. Your tailgate has obviously become a main topic of the podcast many times. I guess we can start with this, and I know Drake will get in on this too when he comes back. We just had Dolph on, and Dolph explained that that the word tailgate got the best of him even.
It was actually the pregame, the night before the game that we ran across Dolph. Yeah.
So yeah, tell us a little bit about that. Where was that again?
So you guys were playing in Champaign, and there's a restaurant in Champaign called the Ribeye, and Kevin knows about it. It's fairly well known. Got a nice steak and salad bar and what have you. So we were in there for dinner, and then we went by next door to the hotel where you guys were staying, and downstairs in the bar was Dolph and Eddie. So Dolph made it seem like I, twisted his arm. He was well on his way when I met him.
Okay.
But I might have kept him out a little too late that night because when you're around good people as he is, and you have a couple of I think he was drinking some red wine that night, and we might have opened up another bottle or two after that. But he had it a hell of a lot easier than I did, because I had to wake up and get in the parking lot by 6 a.m.
Right.
I think he was probably over at the stadium around 9.
Yeah. Yep. And I was fortunate enough, Drake as well, although Drake slept in one time, I'm pretty sure, on the we can tell that too. Didn't Drake make it late to the tailgate one day? It was supposed to be.
He made it late
early.
Fell asleep, then left early.
Yeah.
He took a nap at the tailgate.
Yeah.
This is the opening game of the 2018 season, and much like Dolph and Beef the night before that Illinois game, me and Drake tied one off that night before.
I don't know what you call whatever shenanigans and foolery that we were doing, but I said I wasn't drinking that much. And by the time we were downtown for not that long, Kevin and I were sitting at the bar just drinking a beer, watching a game, and not that much later, it was shots. Dude, it got out of hand too quickly.
There was, the beers went by the wayside, and it was shots after shots. So yeah, me being a trooper, I got up the next morning. I worked my way over to the tailgate around 7 a.m. I started getting a little hair of the dog that bit you last night. And, I was feeling great. Drake stumbles over at around 11 o'clock. I think it's a 2:30 kickoff, and he is a walking zombie, man. The lights are out. He looks like he should be on The Walking Dead.
And I guarantee when he showed up, I guarantee when he showed up, Beef offered him a drink too.
Everybody did. Kevin was trying to get me to drink a Coors Light or a Bloody Mary like it was the damn chalice.
So the guy that tailgate's next to us makes a great Bloody Mary.
Yeah, Jerry from Kansas City. He's a professional, man. He does it right, and he starts infusing his vodka with jalapenos, and that's what the special is there. And
yikes.
That's one of the things about the tailgate spot where we're at, and just with Iowa folks in general. They're all so genuine and nice that we've become a big family out there in the parking lot. And year after year, we look forward to getting together with everybody. That's for sure.
Now, this tailgate, at the level it's at now, did it start this hot? Was it always this much of a presentation and a production when Pat was in his first years at Northwestern?
So Northwestern did a little bit differently, for the folks that don't know, my oldest son, Kevin's oldest brother, played football at Northwestern. And what Northwestern
and total stud, right? Let's get that out there.
He wasn't bad. He started 39 consecutive. Yeah.
Which is almost as good as me at 53.
So yeah, Patrick had a nice career there. But what Northwestern does, and it's just kind of a product of their program. As you know, they don't draw the fan base that the Hawkeyes do.
Or any fan base.
Directly across the street from the stadium on the west side, you can buy a parking pass for the season for about $1,500 or $2,000. So a group of parents every year, kick in maybe 10 or 12 families. So they get like a dozen spots, and they have a whole team tailgate afterwards. So the team everybody comes through. It's like a potluck, and it's really done up nice. So that was really fun with those guys. And so we started to kind of take some of those ideas and bring them out to Iowa City when Ryan and Kevin started.
Okay.
We were fortunate enough to get this spot directly across the street from the south end zone. So
Yeah.
where you guys get dropped off by the buses, we're directly across the street. So it works out perfectly.
Yeah, that's I mean, the spot is supreme. There is no better spot. I don't
No,
think.
not at all. I mean, you pretty much can be in the stadium from your car in less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, it's pretty elite.
After the first year of schlepping all my stuff back and forth, I decided to build the trailer.
Okay.
Which almost got me divorced, but
Okay.
Hey, it's better to what?
It's better to ask forgiveness
Ask
and
for permission.
there you
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I had a little explaining to do, and the guy who did all the graphics on the trailer for me is the one who blew it. He sent the graphic proofs to
no.
the home email, not the business email.
Oh no.
But it took about maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours into the first tailgate, and I was golden because it has its own private washroom, which you guys know for the ladies only.
I was about to say the Ward family tailgate is ladies only. The
Hashtag
bathroom
feminism.
is ladies only.
Exactly. So when Mrs. Ward does not have to use the porta-john and she gets her own private bathroom.
She got okay with the credit card statement real quick.
Now, for those who, we'll post a picture when this episode goes live, which will be Thursday the 23rd. When you're listening to this, unless you have early access on the Patreon, go subscribe if you haven't. When I tweet the episode out, I'm gonna get a picture from you, Beef, and we'll tweet out the picture of this. This isn't just some normal little trailer you got. This is you got the whole production. You got the obviously inside what we just talked about, women's bathroom. You got
we got
He's a keg.
couple of monitors. They got the tapper on it.
Yeah, it's
Nice sound bar and a woofer, and yeah.
You don't need to go anywhere the moment you step into the tailgate for the rest of the day until it closes down.
Wow, as long as we got good internet. And last year, Kev, we had great internet, didn't we?
We sure did. So we make sure to get friendly with the people who were living in that house. And it was like a bunch of, I don't know if they were in a frat, but they were just, Coach Joe will call them Joe College.
They're Joe College.
They're Joe College. All right. These guys just love boozing, and some of them are degenerate gamblers anyway. So we hop on their internet, and their internet name is Kirk's Brazzers account.
That's
so Kirk had the high-speed internet, so we were good to go this last season.
That's incredible.
The first year we were able to, Ryan had remembered the password, and we were getting the internet from the stadium.
Oh yeah.
We had that good link then, and then the next year they changed it, and Ryan is texting Steve. Now Steve is doing something with the program at the time, and it's like game day. And he's like, "Hey man, I need the internet for the tailgate."
Steve's trying to GA the offense, and that's hilarious.
Good stuff.
Now,
the parking over there is it's a blast, and like I said, it's so convenient. But what I always get a kick out of, because I get there real early, is I get to kind of get the feel of the college life again. And I get in the parking lot 5:30, 6 o'clock, and seeing the comings and goings of everybody stumbling back in, or who's leaving the house is quite enjoyable.
That's like a reality
sure
TV show.
Yeah.
It could be on this week's episode of the Walk of Shame Iowa City edition.
Pretty
It
much.
was our man Jackson. He was always stumbling in, not stumbling out.
No, exactly. He said, "Give me 30 minutes," and he was a trooper, man. He would 30 minutes, and he'd be back at it.
Oh my God,
That's a way better turnaround time than I've got, as we've seen.
that's impossible.
Wait, but before we move on, Beef and I both emphasize the ladies only portion of the bathroom at the trailer, because we had a pretty good run in, Beef and I did, and at one of their tailgates, and I just want to bring that story up, see what Beef has to say about it.
I'm a little too old for that stuff anymore, but somebody just wasn't paying attention to the rules, and then and then the dog here in the back, he just pounces. Let's go. And it's like, it was funny.
It was someone that wasn't even. It was some dude that we didn't even know. Just decided to go take a piss in there.
Some drunk guy came in and decided he was going to piss all over the ward's bathroom that was, in fact, ladies only, and that didn't go over too well. And then he wouldn't leave the tailgate, and so, Beef let the dogs out.
Yeah, you have to. You have to. I mean, if you don't enforce the rules, what was the quote that Coach would always give us?
You tolerate.
What is it?
You're either coaching it to happen or you're letting it happen.
But it's
something like that.
It's like your culture is something minus what you tolerate, or something like that. What was that quote?
What you preach minus what you tolerate.
Whatever. I don't know. I want to highlight some of the features of this tailgate because along with the amenities, the food that goes on is often what comes up on this podcast. Often themed. Sometimes, when we're playing Minnesota, it's always pig,
Of course.
And
I got a great memory from this last year.
Yeah.
Your dad came on by.
He did. Todd made his way to and now that Todd knows about that, any game he's at, he's going to be there. So I hope you're okay with that because as you know, Todd is not a small guy and he likes food.
My recollection of Todd at the tailgate for the Minnesota game was 2 pork chops, one in each hand, and a smile from ear to ear.
So I don't know if Brian, I don't know if there's another place and time on earth that would make him happier than that tailgate for an Iowa Hawkeye football game for the rest of his life. Unless he's sitting in the sports book in Vegas, it's your tailgate in Iowa City.
Awesome. Well, like I said, everybody's welcome. Anybody can stop by for a drink.
Yeah.
I would say the 3 best places to spend time with Beef Ward is the Beef Tailgate, the Beef Lake House, and the Wynn Sportsbook.
That's kind of the trifecta right there.
That's the trifecta.
You can look at Kevin. Kevin wants to be at one of those places.
I'm just reminiscing right now on all the good memories in all those places.
Yep. As we're stuck in the Corona Chronicles.
I do love Vegas, but I just hold those Saturday tailgates outside of Kinnick as sacred.
They are.
Yeah.
So obviously Kevin, the whole portion of the show washed up. Kevin's done. You no longer have any superhuman sons playing college football. The tailgate lives on. Do you plan to do this until someone comes and physically removes you from the spot?
Well, it's one of the things with Ryan and Kevin still living in Iowa City. It makes perfect sense for us to go ahead and keep our season tickets. So
right.
We get 6 season tickets, and we'll continue to do this as long as those guys stay in Iowa City. So yeah, we're lifers now.
Oh yeah.
Well, shit. That means if I move, I have to buy season tickets and parking.
That's a lot.
You're basically condemning me to live in Iowa City.
Yeah.
Not worse places, that's for sure.
I was gonna say. I mean, it's not a bad place to hole up and just hang out.
Yeah.
Now you said 6 tickets. Obviously, there's 5 family members, and then the one extra is definitely not going to Kevin's girlfriend because he doesn't have one. And I'm wondering
unnecessary shot, but okay.
I'm just wondering if at this point you're worried about Kevin finding a significant other, or
I don't think I have to worry about that at all.
Kev, we love you.
I love you guys too.
It's fantastic. Do you guys remember we took Steve to the lake?
Well,
we did take Steve.
I remember you almost killed Kevin.
Yeah, I would like to talk about that.
Oh my gosh, we've been trying to tell that story since like episode 8.
And we haven't told it, and now we have Brian here. So how do you feel about me almost running over your youngest son on a jet ski?
I don't get too uptight too often, but I lost my shit on you that day, man.
No, you did.
I want to tell my version of the story.
The wrong version, but go ahead.
It's not going to be anything close to it accurate.
No, it's 100% what happened. So I'm pretty sure at the time there's 2 jet skis and a boat. Mm-hmm. Kevin is wakeboarding behind the boat.
Correct.
And who else was on the trip? Was it Bo?
Josie.
No, it was us three, Josie, and Steve.
Ike was there.
Ike was not there.
Not that year, I don't think.
Oh, okay.
So it was us three, Josie, and Steve. And so you three, or Josie and you two were on the, well, no, Kevin, you're wakeboarding. Josie and Drake are on the boat with Beef, who I assume was driving.
Yep.
And you
were on the jet ski, man.
You put the two WWE fans on the jet skis, and you guys, that's honestly your fault to have us both on those at the same time. So,
don't start trying to dish out blame here, Kluver.
So anyway, Kevin goes down, and we were for most of the time at a safe distance, bouncing,
riding the waves behind the boat,
jumping the waves that the wake boat was making. And Kevin went down, and I wasn't looking. Okay, I wasn't looking. I was having fun. I hadn't been on a jet ski in years, and you know what? I got real close to Kevin. We had it. We could have high-fived. And you know what? Here he is. He's still here.
Yo, I was honestly worried. Like, I got chills. When
you were worried. I see Beef is on the boat like this. Like waving his arms, and I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm going to have to walk home from Paw Paw, Michigan. I'm going to have to walk home.
It's not like a wave. Not like a wave runner has a break either, man. It was
no
break. Let me tell my recollection of the story.
Yeah, yours is probably interesting.
I'm hanging out in the back, we're wakeboarding, got the tunes pumping on the stereo. I go to try to hit a jump, don't hit it, fall down. So I'm under the water. It's like, oh fuck, that kind of hurt, kind of come up a little discombobulated. Then I just see the angel of death at me at approximately 35 to 40 miles an hour. And I look Kloof straight in the eyes. And he just has this look on his face, kind of like half excited, half startled, half like deer in the headlights. He's like,
yeah, that's right. That's about right.
Doesn't even try to turn, and I shit you not, comes within 10 feet of me.
I think it was probably 10 or 12 feet. It wasn't like I skimmed you, but it was a basketball. It was a large basketball hoop away from
I got drowned by the water that you splashed by me. I mean,
okay.
that you freaking waterboard me with the wave.
All right. Well, I didn't know.
Then everybody had to get out of the pool for a little while and cool off.
Yeah, there was a time of I fucked everything up for a good 45 minutes. So that was good times.
So yeah, Kluver tried to kill me. I suppose he resented me trying to make him do the dishes, but you know what?
Yeah, that was correct. Now I don't know if you know this, Beef. It would have been that night because I believe that was Saturday when that happened on that trip. That night for dinner, we had a crawfish.
I didn't try to fucking poison you.
No, I know you didn't. You didn't poison.
Shrimp boil.
No.
Boil.
I'm very grateful for the fact that this happened because I finally realized that I'm allergic to shellfish. Self-diagnosed. Kevin thinks I'm still faking it or something.
Kevin faked the mumps though, so it's whatever.
I don't think Kevin faked the mumps. He was in bad shape. I don't know how I didn't get the mumps. I lived with you.
Because I didn't have the mumps.
Oh,
they told me I had the mumps, and the test came back. It's like, oh, you don't have the mumps.
Oh, okay.
Fake the mumps.
Anyway, that night after I almost killed Kevin, I almost died because I'm allergic to shellfish, turns out. Now, I should have known this because the two previous times that I had eaten shellfish, once at a wedding – once at Red Lobster in Iowa City, like our very first month in Iowa City. And then like 2 years later at a wedding, I had some bacon wrapped shrimp. Both times I ate shrimp, I got like deathly sick for a solid 3 hours. And I thought, 2 times it happened, didn't think anything of it. Third time it happened, I wake up after falling asleep for about an hour at your house, the lake house that night. I'm in the toilet in the downstairs. I think I went blind. I felt so shitty, and I was everything inside of me came up that night. And I realized after 3
that way in that bathroom.
What?
That
Kevin's
was
that way in the bathroom.
Bad
Kevin
tacos,
has
right,
felt
Kevin?
that way in that bathroom
I'm
before.
going to guarantee that not from shrimp though.
It was from
It
bad
was from
tacos. Right?
bad tacos.
Really? It was from food?
He was laying it off on his mom, but he had snuck into the cabinet and had a couple of little tastes that night.
I didn't sneak in, okay? Other people in the house snuck in and was like, "Hey, Kev, it's time to grow up, man. You're 14. It's time to start drinking." So around I don't know what time it was because I'm 14 and it's my first time being hammered, and I go find my way to the bathroom and start expulging my guts into this toilet. So much so it apparently woke the whole house. My mother comes down from main level of house. I'm in the basement. Master bedroom's so she's 3 stories above me, 2 stories above me. Yeah. And she hears it and she's like, "Oh fuck."
That's impressive, dude. And
she's like, "Kevin, are you okay?" And then I just come out with another, Satan coming out of my mouth. Bad tacos.
Trying to blame it on his mom's cooking.
That's so twisted.
Which is bullshit because the wards never serve a bad meal. Never.
No. Well, all we can say is that we don't know that it wasn't the tacos.
We do.
As much as we know that Kluver's self-diagnosed shellfish allergy is in fact an allergy, we know that your mom's tacos were not spoiled.
They probably weren't, but it could have been anyway. So that was the first time the parents caught us reaching into the booze cabinet, and the parents were not happy. The next day.
As a parent, you're like, what the hell were we thinking about leaving the booze down in the basement anyway?
Yeah, yeah, that's a questionable decision there.
So I do remember that the next time we were up there, the booze had moved, and it took us all about an hour and a half to find where you put it.
Oh my God, Beef. Are there any other memories or stories from the lake house that really?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about what we were going to talk about, and I want to go back to maybe the weekend that Ike was there.
Okay.
Ike's a dude, man, and Big Ike is. We load up a cooler. Got a bunch of Coors Lights in the back of the cooler, and we throw it on the back of the wakeboard, and Ike's trying to, he's trying to surf and he's trying to wakeboard. He just can't do it, so he just anchors himself down in the back and gives a little bit more weight distribution in the back of the boat. So Kevin and so we're out there for 2.5 hours, and I finally yelled back to Ike, "Hey man, throw me one of them beers." Nope. Big bastard drank a case of freaking Coors Light in about 2 hours.
I'm dead. He was just slowly taking them one by one. Oh my God!
He's enjoying the sun, the music, and
dude, I can see Ike's shit.
He's just got that big old smile on his face.
That's exactly it. Nope, ain't got any more.
That's funny. That's so funny.
We've always tried to cook and do, have a lot of food and stuff like that. And I remember Bo being up there, and I bought some Wago fillets. It's like, "Yeah, how do you want that steak cooked?" He goes, "Yeah, I like it. I don't like the pink. I like it well done." And I'm like, "Oh man, you're killing me." All right, so I cooked this steak well done. It's about a $40 steak, mind you. And then he asked for ketchup, and I was gonna freaking kill him.
See, he's
the guy who hunts and kills everything.
Yeah.
He doesn't like his meat rare. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, he's also the guy who was completely against drinking, and the first time at the lake house, he called a Mike's Hard Lemonade straight ethanol.
That is true.
He did, and he was like, "Can I just get a nice Sunny D?"
He just wanted.
And then Bo, when did Bo just do a complete 180?
Dude, it was like 3 months after that. All of a sudden, Bo was a drinker, and he was like all about drinking. Then he was all about it. But I mean,
City, man, it gets to most of you.
We gotta have Bo back on soon, because
Beef. Speaking of a cooler of beers, take us back to your college football days and tell the story of the camp days and how different it was back then.
Camp was rough. I mean, like you guys, we were secluded in a hotel, And we were probably in camp 2.5 to 3 weeks, just kind of like you guys were, and it's a grind, but unlike you guys, we were padded up all the time. Didn't get getting the day off and so forth and so on. So by the time you got to be a senior, we built up enough equity in the program, my roommate and I, that we had a room that was kind of like more like a motel room where the door was to the outside and it wasn't like part of the inside of the hotel, and it had a refrigerator in it. So, first day of camp, we get a room and we're like, okay. Right across the street was an IGA, which is a food store. We went and got a case of beer and put it in our refrigerator. And every night after meetings at 10 o'clock or whatever, we'd pull out a couple of beers and sit on the curb. And, that was the way we were able to relax. And then one of our GAs would come down every night and we were just having beers with us. I mean, it was just certainly
doing bed check-ins. Like, hey, I'm going to do Ward and was it Kehoe?
Yeah, Ward and Kehoe were last.
We're going to do them last.
Yep.
That's funny.
We had built enough equity in the program and nobody bothered us, so we were all good. So.
Now, for those that don't know, I'm sure we've mentioned it before, but Beef, you played for Illinois during what years?
82 through 85. So we had a pretty good run when we were down there and played. Had a real nice win against, I think, a number 4 ranked Iowa team at the time.
Wow.
And then took a complete ass whip in my senior year in Iowa City, 59-0.
Oh no.
I think the Hawks might have been ranked 2 that day.
Yeah.
And or 2 or 3. And yeah, it was awful.
That's not good. Ran into a buzzsaw, huh?
No, and we were not a bad team that year. We beat Ohio State, and then the week before we played Iowa, we tied Michigan 3-3. So I think we were going into the Iowa game either like 4-2-1 or 5-2-1. And we thought and Iowa was undefeated at the time, I think. And I think we thought if we beat them, we had like an inside track for the Big Ten championship. And sure enough, we get the ball kicked off to us. We go pick 6, 7-0 Iowa. We get the ball back. We fumble 14-0. It's 28-0 in the first quarter.
Oh God.
And you guys have all been in games like this. It's like 38 degrees and it's raining sideways.
Yeah, and no one
you're
wants
just
to be
fucking miserable. Yeah.
Yes,
That's
I
bad.
gotta get the fuck out of here. I'm done.
That sounds like the day we got beat by Minnesota 55-7.
Yeah, it was
that I was just about to say that was probably the most miserable I've ever been in a football game, because 1, it was freezing cold, and 2, like we just couldn't do anything. We couldn't stop anyone on defense. We couldn't, and guys were getting hurt, and everyone's just like, I just want to go home.
Dude, I wanted to go home so bad, and that was the first year that that was our second year. So that was like the first year.
2014 Minnesota.
Dude, and I remember throwing a high snap to Cornbrath, and Cornbrath is 7'8", and so it's real hard to throw a high snap to somebody that tall, and it got tipped, and I was in trouble for that. And when I look back on our time, our 5 years in Iowa City, that's one of the best things is like, I would say 97% of the games we played, we were in the game. Like, but that Minnesota game, the day we got our asses whooped by Penn State, and maybe like a couple other games.
Rose Bowl.
The Rose Bowl.
Now, and speaking of getting your ass kicked at the Rose Bowl, we have another guest here that also got his ass kicked at the Rose Bowl.
I pretty much I lived that day along with you guys with my sophomore year.
Also, that triggered like some PTSD then.
It did.
Wow.
I said in the first quarter of your game, I go, I've lived this game before. That's for sure.
So what? 1984 Rose Bowl versus UCLA.
Yeah, exactly. UCLA
Final
was
score 43-9.
No, 45-9. 45-9.
Oh man.
So we didn't get as beat as bad. So we're making improvements. So that means when my nephew and your grandson play in the Rose Bowl, then we'll probably only get beat by 20 or so. Next generation gets beat.
It's going to be like
next generation maybe makes it to overtime. So maybe in 120 years the Wards can win a Rose Bowl.
I tell you what, though, it was pretty special having played there and then being able to see you guys go out there and play, and just kind of reliving it from a different perspective, you know, as a parent of a players and a fan versus a player, you know, 20 some odd years previous or whatever the hell it was, 30 years previous. It was way cool. I mean, it's so special, that game. And you know, while it didn't go your guys' way, I hope for, you know, you'll always remember it as a special place.
Oh,
yeah. Beef, I was about to ask you what your favorite games that your kids played in, because like you got to watch a shitload of Big Ten football games that your kids were in, which is pretty cool. So
Before I want to stay on the Rose Bowl for a quick second.
yeah, no problem.
Now, your recollection of the Rose Bowl, what were some of your favorite activities? And then talk about the Beef Bowl back then. And who was the winners of the Beef Bowl?
Well, as we represented the Big Ten never loses the Beef Bowl.
true.
Ever.
It'd be a damn shame.
And unfortunately, the record in the Rose Bowl kind of reflects that we eat too much and don't play real well. So,
Yeah.
but we had a guy, my year when we were out there, Dave Bubba Berkey. He was from Indiana. He ate 118 ounces of prime rib.
Oh. Oh my God.
Like, you gotta think the guy's mouth gets tired.
No, I don't think he shit for 3 days afterwards.
Now, this is for those listening who don't know what we're talking about. When you go to the Rose Bowl, one of the events that the committee, it's part of the week, the bowl week. They always have events and stuff to do. Lowry's, is it just called Lowry's, or it doesn't have?
Yeah, it's Lowry's Steakhouse.
It's just Lowry's Prime Rib. They host the two teams, and it's all you can eat. It's all you can eat.
$100 a plate if you go there normally.
Yeah. And
they just keep cutting. If as long as you're chewing, they're cutting.
Dude, and it was
very, very.
It was one of the experiences that are like tops the list in Iowa football.
I was gonna say it's got to be a top 3 meal that I've ever eaten.
That was definitely my favorite event at the Rose Bowl. Despite how Kirk Ferentz feels about the MC.
He was on drugs, dude. Unbelievable.
We've already told that story, but
yeah, that's a good story.
We got to experience something that you guys didn't. Hugh Hefner was a alumni of the University of Illinois, so we got a little invitation to go to the Playboy Mansion and spend a little time, you know, just kind of checking out the grounds, and then we had like a little dinner there and everything like that. And if anybody has to be quarantined in our lifetime right now, that's where you want to be, right there.
That is wild. That's an incredible story.
Yeah.
So
now, didn't you guys meet up with like someone from like the UCLA women's basketball team down there? Like, you guys were hanging out at the pool or something?
No, we were at the swimming pool. So we were staying in Huntington Beach, and I got to be careful on how I phrase this. So we're in the, you know, the handful of us guys are in the hot tub, and there's girls from the, I think they were from the Utah State basketball team or volleyball team or what have you. And it's like, hey, you know,
this is all right.
Yeah. We want to get some friends, ... And they're like, no, our friends don't necessarily like to mix with others like you. Hopefully I'm leading you down the right path, but
I get it.
Our teammates like each other.
There you go. Yes, they're a really close team. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they were. God,
sounds like Panama City.
Oh, jeez.
All right, Jake. Sorry, I had to.
No, that was good,
Go
man.
for it.
I didn't know that I was cutting you off, but yeah, I just want to hear some of your favorite games, Beef, because it's not that many people who get to watch hundreds of Big Ten football games.
Yeah, I mean, been blessed. I mean, that's been the funnest thing, you know, is having 3 kids continue on to play major college football, and it takes you around the country, get to meet some great people. But I think your guys' Wisconsin game was probably one of the funner times.
In 2015.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. That was a great day.
Yes, it was.
The whole event around the Big Ten championship from fans' perspective, it was on fire. I mean, it was great.
That's what my parents said too. Is that was
what was it like drinking the bars out of beer?
Yeah. So I mean that whole venue, that whole setup, man. I tell you what, if you ever get the chance to do it as a fan, and you know, again, we're talking to a lot of Iowa fans. I'm sure they all went, but man, that's got to be on your bucket list. Couple of games that I've gone to that the kids didn't play in that I absolutely loved. Now that they're done, went to an Army-Navy game. That should be every college football fan's bucket list for sure. And I went to the Red River Shootout 2 years back, and it was an awesome game.
That's between who?
Oklahoma, Texas.
Oklahoma.
Oh man,
In the Cotton Bowl.
It's in the Cotton Bowl.
so that's decent. That's decent.
Beef, I just went this year to the college football semifinals because it was in Glendale, and it was insane.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
So we got to make sure we get football back this fall, man. That's for sure.
Seriously.
Do you have any poll on that, Beef? Can you make like I've known you to be able to get shit done like at all times, and I feel like you could figure something out there.
It's crazy if they're thinking they're going to play 22 games and all in.
Oh, next year? That would be
you guys.
I don't think
Who's toting that idea?
you haven't heard that, Kev?
They're gonna play this season next spring or something, and
Yeah.
get to play the next. No
Yeah.
way. No
Dude,
way.
and you know who would cross that one right off the board is the strength coaches, because
So many injuries.
it's not safe. That's not safe to do.
So many injuries. There's gonna be so many injuries this year just because they have so much less time to work with them.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Where do we go next?
Great.
Who's
I
got
don't know, man. I asked a question, Clifford. You haven't asked a question in a while, bro.
Well, you kind of stole my question because I was gonna ask you, Beef. Like, obviously, amazing to go see all those games, but what is it like as a father who got to experience all that yourself, then getting to watch all three kids experience the same thing? Like, that has got to be some special shit, you know?
Without question, I can't. The pride you have as a dad to see your son walk out onto a college field, after you've coached them from Pee Wee and seen them do their thing in high school and get them on their way to college, and then to see them walk out wearing their college uniform, playing a game, it is really, really cool. And to the point is, I remember Ryan's freshman year, which would have been what, 12?
Yes.
Right?
Wow.
Iowa kicks off at 11 o'clock, and Northwestern is playing in Evanston at 4 or 5 or 6 or something like that. We drove out to Iowa to see Ryan swarm on the field and left. And then
That's awesome.
he wasn't going to play, and then we made it to Evanston for Patrick's game. So just as like I said, the amount of pride, and all your folks know this, and all the players' families who supported them over here, just see the amount of pride you have and seeing your sons out there doing your thing, especially for guys like myself or like Cole Croston's dad or George's dad, and guys who have played and know what it's all about and know exactly what you guys are going through to get to this point, and then to see you out there living your dream, that's really, really cool.
I kind of feel that too, because, and Kevin, you probably had a little bit of this on the other end of it, I guess, maybe not, you can talk about it, but now that my brother is in the program, and he was there for 8 weeks, and now they've all gone home because of the quarantine shit. But just the fact of like the name is still on the back of the jersey, like that holds a lot of like, I'm almost more nervous for when my brother gets to play than I'll ever be when I was playing on the field. Or like, I don't know, it's a huge sense of pride inside. I don't know. It's wild.
Yeah, I mean, as being a former player like you guys are now, and now that, like Tyler, you've got a connection with your brother playing, you'll start to, like, that hour or two before a game, you'll start to get yourself a little amped up. I mean,
Yeah.
I used to get a little edgy, in the parking lot. And
well, now we know where it comes from, because Kevin, his middle name is Edgy.
And then, have to get in for warm-ups and see everything that's going on, and, just kind of like getting that whole game day mentality,
One of the worst anxiety moments I've had in my entire life was the weather delay when we were playing Iowa State this year.
Oh my
I was
God.
pacing around the house in an absolute frenzy.
Dude, we were all text. I remember the Benton Savage's message that day.
Yeah, it was bad.
That was one of the better days in that message, in that text chain. And Lauren almost killed me that day. She's sitting right here. Lauren almost killed me that day because I couldn't shut up. And by the end of the game, when it was tight and, we hadn't locked it up yet, we had friends over. I was screaming, and I usually watch the games very calm because as a specialist, you just learn to you don't have a lot of control. So you just do your thing. And I was off my gourd that day. I could not, that was bad. Any more questions for your father, Kevin? Anything you want to bring up?
Yeah. So, I mean, you've been around football a long time. Like, what's the biggest difference you think from just in general from the 80s to now, whether it be playing style, camp, life as a player? Like, what's different?
Certainly what has come the furthest in football, I think, is what you guys thrive on, is the strength and conditioning. When we were in college, most of the guys didn't even spend the summer on campus. You were home. Hopefully guys showed back up in shape.
Some show up pregnant.
Dude, that's actually wild to me that they didn't keep you guys there.
No. Guys would go home and guys would come back. And again, I played in the 80s when some of the synthetic products were available. Guys would come back all swelled up, man. And coaches were like, man, did you work hard this summer? We're like, yeah, that dude sat on a needle, man.
That's true. And they weren't testing for shit back then, huh?
No. They started drug testing us, maybe my junior year.
Okay.
I mean, when they came out and said it was a drug test, it was like cockroaches screaming when the door opens, man. Yep. Guys were running crazy.
Yep. So that actually is interesting because that's probably around the time that Arnold was competing, right?
I would think, yeah. I mean,
because that's what really bodybuilding and the bodybuilding scene kind of leaked into college athletics, and the steroids got good right about that time. Because I remember researching that, and I watched a bodybuilding documentary, and there's that. You're right, dude. That's why all those. Remember in Red Pepper, guys, the bench, the 400 bench club. There's 40 guys on the 400 bench club. It's what are these guys taking?
Yeah, and then if you go onto the football roster now, there might be 5.
There might be 5 guys who bench 500. Yeah. Now, granted,
400,
that also
400.
I feel like that also
5 guys that bench 400.
Yeah. So there's also, I feel like the strength conditioning has obviously evolved ideologically to where back then I feel like bench was one of the main if you go into the weight room, you're benching. That's the big thing. I don't know, Beef, you could probably talk about that.
We benched, we squatted, and we power cleaned. Those were the lifts.
Yeah.
And then it was a lot of heavy lifting, and it was pretty much heavy all the time. And it wasn't a whole lot of science to it. And it was a guy that had some knowledge, but certainly not like Coach Doyle or any of the other strength professionals that are out there now. Then you add in your piece with the nutrition and all of that.
Yeah.
Certainly, far more advanced than what we were ever given. We had training table. It was only for you when you were in season. And other than that, you were on your own.
How many times a week did you get it?
It was every day.
Every day? Okay.
Every day. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
But
Dog, you drank $4,000 in shakes alone your senior year. That's more than your dad got in nutrition for a whole calendar year.
Dude, I remember Kevin and I sat down and did the math one day on those
those Core Power 42s cost $4. Could be up at as much as $5 retail.
Right, but if realistically, if you were going to buy them for yourself, you'd be buying those in cases, so it wouldn't be that much. But I drank.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
So I think we just said, hey, just figure they cost $3.80 when you buy them wholesale, whatever.
Yeah. Kevin and I one time did we did the math on an entire team and averaged how many shakes a guy drank and how many sandwiches he would get, and we went and calculated the entire cost of what one player costs the university now. It's absolutely absurd.
Yeah, I mean, that statistic said they spent, what was it, $2.5 million on feeding them this year?
Wild.
Ridiculous. Wild. Yeah, they got it. Damn. I mean, we had it damn good for our last 3 years.
Yeah, we did.
But they managed to take it to another level. It's pretty impressive.
So getting back to your thing, Kev, just some other things that changed. Like when I played at Illinois, we were kind of the first ones that were starting to throw it around the yard a whole bunch. I mean, we were throwing it 40, almost 50 times a game.
Damn.
It was us and Purdue, Joe Tiller and Mike White. So that was a kind of a change, but you've kind of seen it come all the way back, full circle. Iowa's pretty much stayed consistent throughout all the years, and obviously that's just
we're going to run 23B, and you're going to like it. All right.
Yeah, Drake's not going to like it, but
gotcha. It's kind of funny, and I'm not sure if anybody knows or not, but Kirk actually recruited me to Iowa.
Yeah.
During that time, and ended up going to Illinois, but he wrote me a letter after I committed to Illinois, and just was, it was in Sharpie, and he just wished me well and so forth and so on. And then fast forward, 30 some odd years when the kids are getting recruited, Laurel pulls out this stuff. She goes, this Kirk Ferentz guy, he seems like a really nice guy. She pulls out this letter. Look at what he wrote to you. And I go, yeah, he's a pretty special guy. That's for sure.
He's
absolutely insane.
He's maybe the most special guy.
Well, to that point, Kevin kind of remembers this. We went to Illinois State, and we were with Coach Brock Spack, who played at Purdue at the same time I played. And Patrick was still playing at Northwestern, and he said to me, Mr. Ward, you should feel really, really fortunate that your two sons are probably playing for the two best guys in all of college football, because they genuinely care about each of their players. And I can echo that 100%. Both Fitz and Coach Ferentz, really, really looked out for your guys' best interests, and a lot of stuff you guys know about and don't know about, but every once in a while, Coach would send you just a little handwritten note just saying, hey, Kevin and Ryan are doing great. So glad to have them on the team. Boom. And
I never heard about that.
It's not much, but man, he didn't have to do it, but it means a ton just to get, some acknowledgement that your kids are doing what they're supposed to be doing and not being dumbasses.
Fooled them.
Congrats, Kev. Funny circular point there to kind of maybe close this down. Right before we got on this podcast, guess who I was on the phone with? Seth Wallace, friends.
Wallace. What's Wally Bear up to?
So my phone is set to send people straight to voicemail if I don't have them as a contact, because if it's important, they'll leave you a message. Mm-hmm. And I get this call last week from Iowa City on Wednesday. It's like Iowa City number. And I'm like, okay, I get a bunch of spam calls, whatever. This number calls me 5 times. And I was like, what the hell is going on? This must be spam or something. It doesn't go through. So I get the call again on Thursday. And it's, again, I don't answer it because it goes straight to voicemail. I get a text at 4:30 tonight that says, Kluver, it's Seth Wallace. Or Kluver, text me, Seth Wallace, Iowa football. And I was like,
I've been ignoring Coach Wallace.
That's so Coach Wallace. And by the way, your dad's in a nice frozen state right now too.
Yeah, he'll be fine.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, fuck. What did I do? What did we do? I'm starting to think of all this stuff on the podcast we've said recently. I was like, shit, did we tell a story that he doesn't want out there? What's going on? And he called to talk about the we lost beef. Come on, man. And he called to talk about that tweet the other day. They were doing the linebacker quiz, and the picture they used for Josie was his rookie season when they gave him the funky haircut. And I had responded to him, and he goes, Kluver, now I didn't realize how much fucking power you guys have with the wash-up walk-on shit. Right? And I was like, I was laughing it out. I was like, Coach, and I didn't know where he was going at this point. I was like, Coach, I don't know what you're talking about. We don't have much power. He's like, fucking bullshit, you do. He's like, you guys are fucking killing it. You guys are killing that shit. And I was like, well, I appreciate that. So then he was like, that those fucking tweets I do, I don't even know how to run my Twitter account. Max Allen is tweeting for me. And so Max So Josie, well, I'll text Josie after the podcast, but Max is the one who chose the pictures of the linebackers on that thing the other day.
Oh,
And
that's funny.
and then me and Wallace had like a 30-minute conversation about the podcast. He said,
Is he going to come on?
He said he'd love to come on eventually when the time is right. That's how he ended the phone call. And I was like, dude, we would love to have you. And he's like, in some time, like in time, I'll come on. And
that means Kluver, he ain't never been less busy in his entire life, right?
No,
Well, he might just mean when he's a head coach himself.
right. I think when he's not in his current position is when
When
he
he's
makes it sound
not
like
coaching at
because
Iowa.
I didn't ask him to come on. He goes, I would love to come on the show. He brought it up. But yeah, he's like, I think it's fucking hilarious, man. He's like, I think it's humorous. I think you guys are killing it. I'm glad it's working for you. I'm happy for you guys. I was like, man, that means a lot, coach. Like, you make me feel good.
Dude, I would love to give Wally Bear a hug.
Oh, man. I told him.
Once the corona's over, I'm flying to Wallace's house and giving him a hug.
A Wally Bear hug feels pretty damn good. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I fucking love Coach Wallace. And when he does finally come on the show, that'll be a
And you guys get to hear this asshole's accent for
Oh my
an hour and a
God.
half.
I'm going to have him.
There's like three things that I missed from Iowa football. So a hug from Coach Wallace, a fist bump from Coach Doyle, and a handshake from KF.
Yeah, man. No. Which I don't know if everyone knows this, but before the game, every single game, every single person
You get a handshake from KF.
Every single person in the program gets a handshake from KF. It doesn't matter if you are number 117 on the roster and you're a player, or if you're a staff guy, if you're like a lot of the video crew, you get a handshake.
Coach Morgan gives out a lot of handshakes too. I don't know if he gives out as many as KF, but he gives out a whole goddamn.
Now, with the Corona Chronicles, does KF continue the handshakes?
Listen, there'll never be a day where KF's afraid to shake his player's hand. That's a man.
That's true.
Listen,
It's a
you don't
goddamn
put
fact.
the Don of college football in the same category as all these simps.
Simps. I'm not with the times. What does simp mean?
Just like a simpleton.
Like
you
a
know?
simple person? Yeah, okay. That's what I thought.
Kind of, whatever.
What's
Urban
I mean,
Dictionary.
there's a little more slang to it. I could get a little more graphic.
I don't know what the kids. I don't know
Call him
what
a
the kids are
pussy.
saying these days. Okay. Well, it's unfortunate that Beef cut out there.
Yeah, I'm gonna give
Oh,
Beef.
he's back.
a drop of
He's
the
back.
outro.
We got to get him in here for the end of the. We got to have him sign off and say his piece before he. There he is. He's back. All right. Cool. Beef,
Did
we
you
got you
steal
back.
Jake's internet?
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. You're good. We're just closing it down. We were talking about how Coach Wallace, Seth Wallace, gave me a call right before this podcast, and I was kind of speaking to the fact that Coach Ferentz, the way you were talking about him, it bleeds to all of his assistant coaches as well, and Iowa's really a people place.
Without question, you guys, you'll understand this as you get a little older and you step back away from it, how good it really, really, really is. And you guys know it, but you'll appreciate it more and more and more as you get away from it, or you get your eyes on other things in life and other ways, organizations, work, so forth and so on. How lucky you are to be a part of that group and just that Hawkeye family, not unlike the group at Northwestern. And so forth, where they really, really care about the people that are in the program, have been in the program, and so forth. So consider yourselves guys really, really lucky, and understand how much football has really done for you and what it's what it's going to lead to for the rest of your lives. That's for sure. So
we appreciate it for sure. We try to get that across on this podcast, and Beef, we appreciate you for coming on.
Absolutely.
For every other thing that Beef wore.
Yeah, that you've ever done for us, all the meals, all the hospitality over the years. We need to have I don't know how it's going to happen, but we need to have somehow a Benton reunion at the lake in Michigan.
Hey, it's wide open. It's ready to go.
I know.
It's a lot of mouths to feed.
Hopefully we don't have tacos, Kev. Huh?
No tacos. No tacos and
no tacos,
shrimp.
no shrimp. I'm good other than that. I'll eat tacos, actually.
And no ketchup on steak, Bo.
Yeah. Hey, Bo's getting a fucking hamburger.
Anything else, Beef, that before we cap the podcast off that you want to say?
No, man, it's just been good to hook up with you guys. You guys have had a great run of guests. I mean, Dolph and George, you had the two big bicep backs. You were riding in the fast lane, and you come to me, and we just threw it in the ditch, man.
No,
not at all.
This is going to be a fan favorite, guaranteed.
Yeah.
It's good stuff, man. It's fun. We certainly enjoy all of our Hawkeye friends and all the Hawkeye Nation. It's been fun to be a part of the program. And like I said, this is coming from a guy who's got orange and blue roots. So certainly enjoy our time out in Iowa City. That's sure.
Well, there you go. You heard it from Beef. That's episode 110 of the Wash Up Walk-Ons. Finally got the legend on to talk a little bit of Kevin Ward and the Ward family and all that goes into that part of Hawkeye football. We'll be back for 111. I don't know who we're bringing on, but we'll have somebody. That's it. Walk-Ons out. Peace.